right, welcome back to the IMNerd podcast. I'm your host, Frazier. I'm here with my co-host, Kenny.
I can't do it.
I don't know what the hell that was.
I'm trying to be a clicker.
Oh, God. They make the sound that those things make. It is
crazy.
Actually, so now that I've been playing the video game, for people who know, I've been streaming The Last of Us, the first one. I've been streaming the video game in 4K because apparently that game has been remade like a bunch of times and it looks amazing on PC. I've been playing it at max settings on my 4090 and I've been having the time of my life. I vowed that I would never play another horror video game, but somehow the chat has pressured me into doing it. And then after watching episode 2 of season 2, which we're here to talk about season 2 today.
That's what we're here to talk about.
I got extremely inspired to just get into more Last of Us because episode 2 of the second season was just so insane to me that
it was crazy.
It made me want to play the fucking video game, even though I despise horror video games. And if people don't know why, I've told this story probably multiple times now. But basically, when I was a kid, I played Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. My dad and my grandmother left, so I was in a house completely alone. I probably was like 8 or 9, definitely not a teenager yet. But I decided to immerse myself in the game. I would turn off every single light in the entire house, and it was at nighttime. I started playing Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, and I got to the police station. And if you guys played that game, there's a part where Nemesis barges in, and he just yells like, "Stars!" And you have like a few seconds to get away from him and run, because you can't actually beat him in that moment. And so when that happened, because it's a jump scare moment, I just freaked out and fucking ran out of my actual house and I left the door open and everything. Like the door was wide the fuck open. So all you saw, I'll never forget this. I was standing across the street, which my best friend happened to live across the street, but I didn't knock on his door or anything like that because I don't want to startle his parents or anything. So I just was standing in front of his house, but looking at my house, and you could see up the stairs because my room was the first room. When you got up to the top of the stairs, you just saw flickering light in a dark ass house. So it looked like Poltergeist. It looked even scarier inside my house because you just saw the light from the TV in my room flickering out upstairs and nothing else. It was just too creepy. So then when my dad and grandma got home, they were just looking at me across the street like, why is the door open? And why are you outside?
What the fuck is wrong with this kid?
And I just didn't have a real explanation for it. So that traumatized me. And I have never played a horror video game ever since then. And so, 2025, here I am playing The Last of Us. I'm loving it. We'll do a separate, when we talk about The Last of Us Season 2 in totality, which will, it won't be the next podcast, but it'll be soon because the season is apparently ending soon. I'll talk more about how I feel about the video game.
So sadly, this season is only 7 episodes. And there's going to be a part 2. I don't know if we're calling it season 2 part 2 or if we're calling it season 3. The reason why anyway, it doesn't matter. But this season, sadly, is only 7 episodes. And we're going to talk about the first 5.
Yes.
And then on the next Last of Us podcast, we're going to talk about all 7 episodes and also the Last of Us Part 1 video game.
Yep, that is the plan. So I didn't know that there were only 7 episodes until Kenny told me yesterday. A little disappointing to me. Most seasons of TV shows, ever since that writer strike happened, have been around 8 episodes long, which I think is
we
also
were at
short.
10. We were doing a good 10 for a while.
Yes.
And then we got chopped down to 8. And now all of a sudden 7.
Yeah, and I'm just not liking short seasons of shows that are dramas, especially like House of the Dragon, The Last of Us, Game of Thrones in general. Like the last season of Game of Thrones was short for whatever reason, when that should have probably been the longest season, if anything. Like if you really think about it. If you want to make sense of it, it should have been longer. What I will say, this is a complete side note, but it's kind of related. No, it is related. So HBO has this other show that is a huge hit right now called The Pit, and it is a hospital show. I've never watched a hospital show before. I've never watched Grey's Anatomy. I've never watched House. I've never watched any of those types of shows before. Not 24, but there's a bunch of those types of shows that are hospital shows, and they go on for extremely, hospital shows go on longer than pretty much anything. Like Grey's Anatomy, I think is still going, and that shit is 24 seasons in.
If it's still going, that's crazy. That is crazy.
I think Grey's Anatomy is still going on. There's that General Hospital went on for 20 seasons. So anyway, hospital shows normally do really well though. I know
Hospital. It's like one of the OG soap operas.
It is.
I hate soap operas. There is a significant difference between normal TV and a soap opera.
Yes, there is. The acting is very
Yeah.
different. The storytelling is very different. I mean, they're so over the top, right? Like telenovelas.
Like, dude, it is so, in general, I've never seen an episode. Well, I've seen an episode because, like, it'll be on in a doctor's office or whatever,
Right.
but I've never sat down and watched an episode. But I bet there's an episode where, like, a patient comes in, the doctor has to save them. As the doctor's saving them, like, the doctor's, like, you find out the doctor is, like, the father of this guy's son because the wife cheated on him for the doctor.
Yeah, some crazy plot twist that's so derived and contrived.
Anyway.
So, The Pit, this new hospital show, is on HBO, and it is. So I watched it on my flight to Japan. It's 15 episodes though.
Season 1?
Season 1 of it is 15 episodes. It just came out. Like, literally, it's one of the newest shows out. Has an extremely high rating. If you start watching it, you will see why very quickly. The main actor apparently is actually, I think he's from Grey's Anatomy or something like that. I think they said that he was, like, 20 years ago, he was like a side character in a hospital show. In this show, he's the main character. He is the, what do you call it? The attendant doctor, like the attending. So he's the highest ranking doctor in the emergency room in what's called The Pit. The reason why the show is called The Pit is because it takes place in Pittsburgh, and it's an emergency room in Pittsburgh. And, like, I've never seen a hospital show, so I didn't know how they get, but it's very, and it's on HBO, so you already know, it's very gory, it's very dark. The doctors are very blunt, and they're trying to save lives, and people die, and it's a lot of that type of thing. It's very, like, realistic, right? Like, people come in with fucking wounds that they can't do anything about. They try to save people, obviously, but my whole point is that I was surprised on my flight when I saw how much, because I downloaded the whole season. I downloaded a bunch of shows to get, I have a 14-hour flight to Japan, 14 hours back.
You got all kinds of shit you got to do.
So I downloaded a bunch of shows to put on my terabyte external hard drive that I can just plug into my phone or anything. And I didn't know that the season was 15 episodes, and they're each an hour long. And the way they do it is every episode is 1 hour of the day at this emergency room hospital. So episode 1 says 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Like, literally the title, when this starts, it says 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Episode 2 will say 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. And then by the time you're at episode, like, 10, it's literally like 4 p.m. or whatever, right? It's very, very cool because the entire season is literally 1 day in this emergency room. Every episode picks up. It picks up immediately, like when the episode ends, and they all end on like a cliffhanger or whatever to draw you in. But when an episode ends, the next one picks up at that exact scene. Like, it's not even like a cutaway or a flashback at the start. It's literally, that episode ended, something happened crazy, and when the next episode picks up, it's like the camera never stopped recording. Like, it's brilliant the way they do it. I think the show is going to get a lot of Emmys and a lot of awards.
I have a question. Is it one shot or are there cuts? Is it one continuous shot? Right.
So I was looking for stuff like that because I've only ever seen this movie called Fences did that with Denzel Washington, and it was brilliant. There are cuts, not many. You could tell that it is meant to be. So what they do, this thing where a character is talking to another character, and then they'll fade out their speech, and it'll pan the camera over, and then you'll have the attending doctor talking to someone else, and now there's a new issue. Like, Dr. Rubinovich, we need you right now. There's a patient on the thing who has bullet shot wounds in the chest. Whatever artery is this, blah, blah, blah. And then now you're dealing with that, and then he'll walk out of there, and then there'll be another person, like, doing something, and it's a constant stream of things happening without many cuts.
I'll definitely check it out because, I mean, I have access to HBO, so, and even if I didn't, I have access to HBO. But I'll definitely check it out because it sounds really good.
I want you to watch it. I'm happy that you want to watch it. Yes.
Yeah, I'll check it out because it reminds me of don't worry, guys. We'll talk about The Last of Us. But it reminds me of, there's a show I saw somewhat recently, maybe a month or 2 months ago. It's on Netflix. I think it's called Adolescent, and it's
I've heard of this one.
It's like British or English or something like that. But it's a really interesting show. I think it's like 4 episodes on Netflix. But there's no cuts in an episode. So when an episode starts, the camera never cuts. The camera just follows the movement. And, like, so you get everything kind of real time. So, like, it'll go and, like, I don't know, just there's no way to describe it other than the camera never cuts. And it's about, like,
it's very artsy.
There's, I don't really want to say much that happens, but it's really interesting. If you haven't seen it, it's really interesting. It's cool. I feel like it draws you in pretty quickly. And it piques your interest pretty quickly.
What's it on?
And then the way it's shot is interesting. Netflix. It's super easy to watch. It's on Netflix. I think it's only 4 episodes.
It's super short.
And it's just like an interesting watch. So we can maybe talk about that one of these days.
Yeah. You're gonna love The Pit. Oh God.
Yeah, I'll definitely check it out. I mean, HBO, I don't really know. HBO's never really let me down.
I know, I
mean,
feel the same way.
sometimes like some things are better than others, but for the most part, HBO doesn't let you down.
The quality of HBO shows is so high. And speaking of HBO shows, so yeah, we have The Last of Us, and we're picking up right where we left off, honestly, with season 2, episode 1 of it, where there's been a 5-year time skip, but they kind of introduce it in such a cool way. So it picks up where you see Ellie and Joel having that speech at the end of season 1 about like what happened at the hospital, right? Because, you know, he killed literally every single human. And what I think is so cool about that ending was that I thought there were no consequences to that. I'm going to be honest, because that's kind of how things usually would go in a show written like years and years ago. Like that would just happen. And like there would be no consequence to him just like murdering a whole hospital of people and then living in some fucking bumblefuck place called Jackson out in the snowy area that's like a whole town. You know, like he could get away with that in another story, and then maybe he'll suffer consequences for that in another way. Spoiler alert for season 2 of The Last of Us, up to episode 5 only. I was surprised at how well they basically found a way to integrate, like, yeah, so he did something that is actually a very heinous act. He murdered doctors, which even when that happened at the finale of season 1, I remember thinking to myself, oh God, I like jolted when he shot the doctor, because he walked in the room, he said, it was like untie her or unplug her or something like that. He says,
something like that.
He says like unplug her. And the doctor turns around and he goes, I can't do that, but boom!
Bang. Yeah, bro. He didn't wait for shit. Like he had no time for anybody's explanation.
Yeah.
Like, if you didn't immediately comply, you were dead.
It freaked me out so bad how fast he shot that guy. Like, and again, because that guy didn't have a name, because that guy didn't have any like urgency in him, like he was just the 33rd kill in that hospital, right? Joel had already gunned down, you know, at that time, probably like literally 15 people. So when he got to the doctor, it jolted me because of how flippant it happened, but it wasn't like significant because he had already killed so many people.
He already killed so many people, yeah.
But I like how something that's insignificant to you means the world to someone else. And so this season introduces a character named Abby. And she is an emotional wreck from the beginning. When you first see her, she sees like all the people dead at the hospital and she is distraught, and her friends tell her, do not go in there. Like, do not go in that room. She's outside the room where Ellie was hooked up to all the machines, where Ellie was going to have the brain surgery that most likely would have ended her life and all that. But she's in that hospital that Joel murdered everybody right after it happened. And I love the way they frame this. Is like this took place very closely after Joel did what he did. Killed all the fireflies there, killed all the doctors and everything. Well, he let some people live. Those 2 nurses who were next to the doctor, they did what he said after he killed the doctor, and then they just kind of like left. So there were some survivors. But anyway, Abby, this new character, this new girl, who's like tough, you know, you could tell she's like a firefly or whatever, or something like that, like Fedra, whatever. She's clearly military trained in some kind of way. But her friend tells her, like, do not go in there. Like, do not. And she obviously goes in anyway. And she finds who we know is her father. The doctor who was going to operate on Ellie is actually her dad.
Brains all over the floor.
Yes. So she is naturally going to want revenge for this. And so now you have this character who hates Joel for something that, again, at the end of season 1, I was like, that was fucked up what he did. I understand why he did it, because it you know, he lost his daughter episode 1. And I actually, from the HBO show, I teared up watching the way his daughter went out. Like that shit hurt my heart. So then Ellie, he clearly takes to her in a way that is possessive. And even when the choice is the world or your stepdaughter, right? Or your adopted daughter, whatever you want to call her, the world or your adopted daughter, he chose his adopted daughter. It is the most selfish thing that almost anyone has ever done in fiction. Like it is a very selfish act what he did. And again, I'm with him. I kind of understand it, even though I'm not a father, but I kind of get it. Like, I kind of get it. I don't think we'll ever, until we have our own children, because I do think that there is something that parents probably feel when they see what Joel did. Like, if somebody said, let your child die, like, Kenny, let your child die, or let your little brother die, or let your little sister die, or, you know, like,
nope.
He would be like, bro, I don't think I could do that.
Killing everybody in that hospital.
So
I'm with Joel. I'm team Joel.
I am
got in
Team
this
Joel.
argument.
Yeah,
I got in this argument with people at the end of season 1. I'm Team Joel, and I don't give a fuck.
Love that. Love that.
Here's the thing. Even if we say everything was going to work perfectly, I'm still Team Joel. But my thing is this. First of all, the cure might not even work.
That's how
right?
I feel too.
They
I'm big on that.
just think it might work. And then let's say the cure does work. Then you're going to have like people being assholes, controlling the cure for power.
100%.
Like they're going to like lord it over people. There's all kinds of horrible things that comes from this. Fuck y'all. I'm saving my kid. Y'all can just figure it out. I don't know.
Yeah. Science will eventually figure it out, right?
Yeah. But
or it won't.
Everything.
Or it won't. And we'll all be fucking zombies.
Like,
yeah.
It's already been 20 years.
It has been 20.
Fuck it. We're figuring it out. Okay? We're figuring it out.
Life is
We're not
humans are
eating
still
bread
alive.
anymore. Like we're just don't eat bread anymore. Like I don't know what to tell you.
Bread's done. It's bad for you anyway.
Bread is
it's already bad for you. It's actually just bad for you.
Y'all just fat and shit with bread butt.
Not y'all like, just fat. Did you say bread butt?
Yeah. You haven't seen somebody with bread butt. You can tell somebody got
bread butt. Yo, bread butt is crazy. I feel like it's like kind of a flat ass, but a wide ass. Like bread butt makes me think that the ass is not a fat ass. It's a flat ass, but it's wide. It's bread butt. Like she been eating a lot of bread. She got bread butt. She
been eating mad bread, bro. But yeah. So it's cool though, because like you said, in a lot of shows or video game or whatever, right? You just kill a bunch of people, and this is kind of insignificant, and you move on with your day. But what's also cool is that this has already happened in The Last of Us Season 1, and where in Season 1, when they first get to the university, and they're searching, and you see like the monkeys and shit and the giraffe.
Right.
When you get there, and then like some people show up, and then Joel and Ellie get in a firefight with them. Joel kills a bunch of those random guys who just seemed like random guys that showed up.
Yep.
That ends up tying into a few days later where Ellie ends up meeting that pedophile priest guy.
Yep.
And then you end up finding out that those
You
guys...
can just say priest. It's implied that he's a pedophile because...
True, but I like alliteration.
Okay,
you know?
right.
Like I wanted to put
pedophile
the PP
priest guy. Like you could just say priest, and we'll know that he's a pedophile just by the virtue of him choosing to be a priest like that.
True.
Like you don't have to even, you know what I mean? Like
you ain't gotta shoot him like that. Like
you know what I mean? Like some things you don't have to even say. It's like like some things you don't have to. Like pedophile priest is kind of like it's like double counting. Like it's like,
yeah. I feel you. I feel you.
Yeah, it's kind of just like what's the point? It's like saying a corrupt judge, like the fact that they're a judge, they're most likely they're corrupt.
It is what
a bad president, you don't have to put the word bad in front of it. Yeah, just like just say he's a president. Like it's implied that he was bad. Like he's a fucking president. Name a good one, So anyway, the pedophile priest guy, but there were consequences to like Joel killing that guy. He wasn't just nobody.
Well, not even just him. Before him, when they killed the randoms at the university, you just think they're randoms.
Yep.
It's not until later that you realize that, like, oh, they were part of this guy's, like, family or unit, and they were out hunting for food to bring food back and blah, blah, blah. So then, like, it ended up all being connected. So even though that happens, and even though there's instances throughout the show where you realize that, like, these random people that we're killing can be connected to other things, it still happened in a way where in the hospital, you could just be like, all right, like, that is what it is. And it's not until season 2 when you realize like the dire consequences of that and where that's going to lead. I still didn't think it was going to lead to my man brutally dying the way he did.
Me either. But I will say I'm so thankful that despite us having a friend who loves The Last of Us, and we had him on the podcast before, Cheyenne, Majora plays games on Twitch and stuff. He has been on the podcast many times, and he loves The Last of Us. And not only does he love The Last of Us, but a lot of people do. This is one of the biggest games of all time. It actually won Game of the Year, and it is actually ranked in the top 10 games ever created. It's up there with the God of Wars, with the Zeldas, with the, whatever game, Skyrim, whatever games are in like best games ever made. The Last of Us is in that conversation and has been in that conversation despite the fact that I never cared. So it is popular enough for where you could know about it without actually ever playing it. And that's kind of how I've lived my life, where I knew about The Last of Us. Even Tyree Tinsley, who we had on the podcast very early on in the first year, he was saying to me, you should play The Last of Us. Because I think at that time, like the second one was coming out or it came out, and he was super excited about that. And I was like, I have no intent on playing a fucking zombie game, bro. Like, I'm good on that. And he was like, it's so much more than that. And I didn't really believe him at the time because I was so cynical towards games like that. Yes. Because I got burned by The Walking Dead, which everyone was like, oh, The Walking Dead's so amazing. It's so great. And then I started watching The Walking Dead, And it was good and it was great at first. And then it just nosedived in a really bad way. They left a sour taste in my mouth. And I was like, I'm just done with the zombie genre in general. Like, I'm done with that entire genre. So anyway, I say all this to say, as popular as The Last of Us is, I did not know that fucking Joel was going to die. It's kind of the same way that I did not know that Ned Stark was going to die when I watched Game of Thrones. Like, I had no idea that Ned Stark was going to die in season one.
I thought he was the main character.
I thought he was the main character. And I thought Joel was the same thing. I thought
Joel was going to stay the main character too, you know?
Yeah, I thought that if he ever were to die, it would be protecting Ellie specifically, like in a situation where he's literally protecting her, and it would be towards the end of the show. Not literally what I feel like we're not even like, I don't think we're anywhere near the end of this story.
No, because season 2 split up into 2 parts. So we've only seen 5 episodes. This happened in episode 2. And then there's going to be a whole nother season, with presumably 7 more episodes.
Did you hear that they're pushing for season 4 now, though? This just came out.
No, I didn't hear about that. No.
So I figure you might not, because I know you're not on social media as much as me. But yesterday, the director of the show, who apparently is also either the same person who like worked on a video game or like the people who did the video game are very closely related to the show. Like, they're not a distant like consultant like George R. R. Martin is or whatever. Like, they are literally working together. The people who made the game and the HBO crew who's doing the show are all working together, which is great. And you can kind of tell that with a lot of things. Anyway, it just came out yesterday that there will be a season 4. The director said that we cannot complete this narrative without a 4th season. So that is where it is. That is where it is going now.
The second game must be long. I don't know how long the second game is, but like, if you need 3 seasons to tell the story of the second game versus like the 1 season to tell the story of the first game, like, that's crazy.
Yeah, I do agree, and I think it's a couple things at play here. I think what they're going to do, and I don't know the second game. I've only been playing the first game. I'm not even done the first game, but I know the second game. You do play as Abby. I know that much. People have said that much. I've seen that talked about, that you do play as this character. And in the second game, like, you don't know who she is, though. So I'm wondering if the show took the direction of, we need to develop this other character, and maybe we're going to spend a season on Abby's side.
Maybe the whole next season is like Abby, and then you get both of them.
And then I kind of think it's going to end up like that. Like, so obviously Ellie's goal this whole season is, you know, after what happens to Joel, now you have this whole plot point of Ellie wanting revenge. And then Abby, her whole plot leading up to the moment we saw her was, I want revenge for what happened to my father. But we never got to see like, you know, her relationship with her dad. Like, we saw Ellie and Joel's relationship develop. So we, like you said, I'm Team Joel. You say that because we watched Joel and Ellie.
Yeah, that's my guy.
That's your guy, right?
Hell yeah, that's my guy.
For all we know, Abby and her father, the doctor, they had their own relationship too that was like super significant, and we might have been able to pick a side other than Ellie's. You know, some people might be Team Ellie, some people might be Team Abby. If you got to see the other side, I'm not saying that you would, but I'm just saying that like there are people, obviously Team Jacob, Team Edward, all that bullshit, right? There's always like the thing.
Everybody's got a story.
Everybody's got a story.
But my dad's my dad, so fuck your dad.
Exactly, I agree. Like, when you're watching Game of Thrones, like, some people are like, I'm Team Daenerys, you know, it's fuck Westeros. And then some people are like, well, no, I'm Team, like, Lannister or whatever. Like, I want Tywin. They wanted Tywin to win or whatever. They wanted the Lannisters to win. Some people wanted the Starks to win somehow, even though, you know, they make terrible decisions throughout the entire show. But, like, some people wanted that. Some people were like, I want the Starks to win. It's like, okay, good luck. But yeah, I just think it will be interesting if HBO, and I think that this is what they're going to do. Obviously, this is all conjecture. I don't know. But I think we might get an entire season or several episodes dedicated to literally just Abby and her life. And that way, when Ellie comes to kill her, because that is the whole storyline now, is that Ellie is looking for one person. She's not looking to kill all the wolves. She specifically wants Abby. She's been asking everybody, where's Abby? And she will stop at nothing until she gets to her. And obviously, she's going to get to her at some point. Like, there would be... It's not a Game of Thrones type of show where, you know, I remember Arya in the early seasons would go to sleep chanting names. And I thought, because, you know, a lot of times when shows or things do that, especially back in the day, like, that would be exactly what happened. Is she would say the names of the people she wanted to kill, Cersei, the Hound, the Mountain, whatever, right? She would say all these names, and then eventually you would assume that she would kill them too at some point. She doesn't really get to kill many of the people on her list.
Nah,
like, most
kills some, but not all.
Yeah, she doesn't really kill any of the people on her list. Like, it's very seldom that she gets to actually exact her revenge. And so with The Last of Us, I don't think that that's the story we're being told here. I think that she is going to get a chance to, like, kill Abby, but to make it important to us, because right now, right? Imagine she made it to Abby and she like kills her. And it's like, okay, cool, you killed this person who killed Joel, but I don't really know that person that well.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean much.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. So yeah, I mean, that could I'm cool with this, but I just need they can't take 2 years between a season. I mean, if they have to, they have to. Who am I, right? I'm just like some nerd. But I really hope I hope I don't got to wait more than a year for each season.
Same.
Is the only thing I'm saying. That's all,
Shows,
is that all?
Shows do seem to be trying to be a little bit faster with the release dates now, I noticed, especially with like The Boys. That's a huge production show. Like a lot of special effects and stuff goes into The Boys. We've been getting a season of The Boys every year, I feel like. And then even with like The Last of Us, it took a little bit. It's been like a little over 2 years, I want to say, for The Last of Us, maybe 3, which is
I feel like we are out of COVID times.
We are,
so I feel
officially.
Like we gotta, because what started happening was shows took longer to make and they were shorter.
Yes, so which is crazy that both things happen simultaneously.
I was like, what the fuck? So I just need them to be like, all right, if they're going to be shorter, they can't take longer to make. I'm sorry.
I agree. So yeah, I hope that it doesn't take too long for the other seasons to come out, but we're enjoying, or at least I don't know how you feel yet, but I
love it.
Okay. I'm enjoying season 2.
Season 2. I love all 5 episodes I've seen.
Same.
At some point, or maybe now, maybe later, I don't know, but we can talk about, I don't know if you've heard of it, but it is getting a ton of criticism. People hate it. It's mostly just like incel losers, but people fucking hate it. People hate gay people. People hate women. So I don't know. It's just like the episode where Joel dies. So I watched that episode 2, and it is a phenomenal episode.
Oh my
Obviously,
gosh.
I'm sad Joel's dead. He's my guy. Like, that is my guy. But everything that leads into it is like so fucking crazy, and I think well written and just everything. But like for a lot of people, they're like, this show doesn't work without Joel. Like you need a strong male figure for the show to work. Like,
do they know that he dies in the game?
Like people are just like so stupid.
This is the story. I don't know. Like,
yeah, I mean, people hated the second game too.
Okay.
For, like,
okay. So yeah, that I didn't. Yeah. Okay.
The second game got a lot of hate. Like without me ever playing both of them, I remember when the second game came out, I remember hearing so much hate from so many people.
Gotcha.
And without diving too deep into it, because I knew one day I would experience the story.
Right.
So I didn't try to look too deep, but some of the things I remember hearing kind of boiled down to like, I hate lesbians.
Oh shit!
Like nobody said that, but it felt like that's what they were all saying.
Yeah.
I hate women. I hate lesbians.
In a roundabout way.
Girls can't carry the story. Just like all kinds of nonsense. Like people get mad at girls for doing like crazy, phenomenal shit, and then they're like, a girl could never do that. And my thing is like, guys can't do that either. Like the shit we watch guys do in TV and video games, like
Jon Snow. Jon Snow's not real. No. Like Jon Snow wins every fight he's ever in, and like low difficulty too. Like Jon Snow, he blocked a fucking arrow that what's the guy's name? Ramsey or whatever the fucking crazy guy is, the Bolton dude. He fucking like I remember when that guy was on not his deathbed, but he was retreating because he knew that he lost, right? When Littlefinger came in. I remember him having his bow and arrow that he's very accurate at shooting. Like that guy was insane. Ramsey Bolton was insane at like shooting his bow, and he's shooting it at Jon now, but he's frantic. And Jon is just like grabbing the shield and just like blocking, like almost point blank arrows. Like he just like blocking them. Like like a quick block though. Like a quick like put the fucking shield out, block it. The arrow's like stuck in the shield, and that's not real. Like I don't know if people
Street Fighter 3 perfect parries.
Yeah, like he was parrying the fucking arrows, Kenny. Like when I'm watching, I'm like, oh, that's so badass. Like that's so badass. But like it's not fucking real.
It's not real. Like that's crazy. But yeah, people get up in arms. So it's just like, I don't want to spend too much time on it, but it's frustrating because a lot of the episodes in this show are getting like super
review bombed type thing.
Review bombed. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Like on whatever websites like IMDb or Rotten Tomatoes. I don't know. But
I'm glad I didn't know that.
A lot of this season 1, I feel like was highly acclaimed and everybody loved it.
Yeah.
Season 2 is getting like a lot of hate. And from my perspective so far, and the 5 episodes I've seen, same 5 episodes everybody else has seen at this point, it's fucking good.
Yeah.
Like and then just to skip ahead a little, like just to skip way to the end of episode 5, and then we'll talk about it all, but just to kind of get to my point, it sucks because I started hearing all this negativity. And so the end of episode 5, Ellie and the other girl, I don't remember her name, but the black girl with the bald head, she's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But they were both kind of badasses. And like she was a fucking badass and Ellie was a badass.
Yeah.
And I was watching like the end and I was like, oh my fucking God. Like
that
Ellie's
was such a great
right
scene.
Now.
That scene
Bro, it was
when the girl was
awesome.
like dying from the spores.
Dude, everything about that was, but it was so frustrating because after the episode was over and like I fucking loved it, I ended up getting like a frustrated feeling because I knew without even having to check the internet that people were going to hate on it just because like everybody hates Ellie. Yeah. And there's also this big campaign online where they're making fun of her because she's ugly.
Okay.
First of all, I don't think she's ugly.
I want to address this. I was going to address it if you didn't.
Yeah, she's not conventionally attractive or whatever, but I truly don't think she's like ugly.
No.
But the internet is flaming this woman because she's ugly and they're like, she looks like a man and like, it's just so
I want to talk about this because this is where you used the word incel earlier. And I think that's exactly what I'm about to go in on because I fucking hate you incels. There was a lot of hate about Ellie being the main actor for Ellie or for what's her name?
Bella Ramsey.
Bella Ramsey. Thank you so much. There was a lot of hate about Bella Ramsey not being changed out after the 5-year time skip because she's not hot enough. Now, I want to say this.
So crazy.
I don't know if the internet like is aware of pedophilia and like what it entails, but you complaining that this little girl is not hot enough to play this video game fictional character that isn't fucking real is disturbing. And you fuckers need help. And I'm so serious about that. The number one complaint that I have seen was that she doesn't look good enough to play the little girl Ellie from the video game and that they have to change the actor out. And I find that shit to be creepy. It's strange. It's weird.
It's strange.
Ellie doesn't actually exist. She's not real. She's a fictional character. Anyone could play her. It's not that deep. Also, Bella Ramsey is not some fucking ugg-mug looking girl. Like,
she's not.
I think that at the end of the day, she does a great job of portraying Abby as a character, especially now that I've been playing the game. Yeah,
you said Abby.
Oh, sorry. She's Ellie. Like Bella Ramsey has been doing a great job of portraying Ellie. And now that I've been playing the game and I actually get to see like the original Ellie, I was like, oh, so she just is like she embodied this character, like to the point where it almost seemed like she played like they forced her to say, "I want you to play the game. We're going to give you the script for the HBO show, but only after you play the game." Or in fact, in order to audition for this show, we need you to have played the game and gotten to a certain point. You don't have to beat the whole thing. I'm not saying you got to beat the whole thing, but I need you to have played the game because she embodies Ellie so well, Bella Ramsey I'm talking about, that I don't really have any gripes. Now, granted, I didn't play the game until after I saw the show. So, of course, I'm a little bit more biased towards the show than the game and all that. I'm not like a purist where I played the game and I love the game and then I see the show and I nitpick every little thing. Oh, they changed this. Oh, Bill and Frank, were they really that gay, though? Like, I get it that they were gay, but I don't know if they were that gay. Like, you motherfuckers need help. Y'all need fucking Jesus. Like, you need to get out of your mom's basement. It is annoying. Like, it is so annoying.
It's so annoying.
I saw the complaints in season 1. It's mainly around the Bill and Frank thing, and it goes back to what Kenny said about you guys just hate gay people. Like, I get it. We're different.
They just exist.
Like they just simply exist. And like we're just a part of stories. Like, I don't know. Gay people have always existed, always will.
They've been real for a long time.
It's been real for a very long time.
Gay people aren't new. Like, they've been around for a really, in fact, there is probably more of them because to my knowledge, and it's been a long time, this is like super kind of off topic, but it's been a long time since I like pseudo researched this, but I'm pretty sure like the whole like anti-gay-isness of like society largely comes from like modern religion.
Yeah.
Like before modern religion, like I'm pretty sure it was just like really, really normal.
Yes.
Like ancient Greek.
It's in history.
Like it's very normal. Like, I don't know. It's just like motherfuckers were gay. All right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
People be gay. Like, people just be gay. So I saw the critiques about season 1, mainly the Bill and Frank episode, which I actually think was one of the best episodes of the entire show. It still is one of the best episodes of the entire show. And I watched it again, like, but right before my Japan trip, I actually ended up watching The Last of Us. And like, that episode still hits insanely hard. So I don't know. People are weird. Wanting Ellie to be hotter, I think, is a very strange thing to admit. Like, you like being a pedophile is one thing. Being aggressive about it on the internet is like so scary to me. Like, just being like, nah, she's not hot enough to play my Ellie is crazy work. So I just need y'all to calm the fuck down. Like, I know that you guys feel empowered right now.
It's funny because these are the same people that are like they're anti DEI, but what they say is We just want the best person for the job to have the job. I don't care who they are or what they look like,
right.
as long as they're the best person for the job. But then these same people
Yo, it's
are
the
like,
same people too.
Just get me a garbage, shitty actor that looks fucking hot as hell. Just
give me Megan Fox.
A hot, blonde, bombshell, big tits, fat ass.
I need, what's that, Margot Robbie?
Act.
I need Margot Robbie, baby.
But, she can act, though. But
yeah, that's true. That's true. Give me Megan Fox. I'm going back to the original. Give me Megan Fox. Back to Megan Fox, damn it. Give me Megan Fox.
Yeah, you notice I didn't say anything when you said the first one.
I
didn't say nothing.
You did.
But I had to step in on the second one because she can act.
I love Margot Robbie also. That was not, I didn't intentionally mean to shoot at Margot Robbie. I actually do love her, like, genuinely.
But people want shitty actors as long as they're hot. And I just think it's crazy. Like, it's fucking
You're
crazy.
absolutely right, though, because same thing with The Little Mermaid being cast as Halle Bailey. So Halle Bailey is an actual singer in real life, and I mean a phenomenal singer too. She is one of Beyonce's artists, and she was a child with her sister Chloe Bailey, and she was cast as the Little Mermaid. And obviously the incels went up in arms because they made the Little Mermaid black. They made this light-skinned black girl, the Little Mermaid, and the internet, the incels were so angry about it. Woke Disney. We hate Disney. Disney's going woke, go broke. I'm not watching this movie. I'm not taking my daughter to go see this. This is not the original, blah, blah, blah. Same exact type of critiques that you're giving Ellie. So it's not even like, I thought it was like, oh, they just do this to black people or like black characters.
No, they just do it to women.
They just do it, like, honestly, like, they hate women more than they hate anything else, it seems like. So that kind of trumps, because I was surprised when Bella Ramsey, who is a white woman, was getting the same exact treatment that basically Halle Bailey's getting. Bella Ramsey is a Game of Thrones actress, and she was good in Game of Thrones, like actually amazing in Game of Thrones as Lady Mormont. And so she got cast for Ellie, and she's amazing as Ellie because she's a great actress. But then like Halle Bailey, who was cast as Little Mermaid, can actually sing. And I mean, the rendition of the songs that she does as Ariel in the movie, because I actually went to see that movie in theaters. And that's the last Disney movie I've seen, The Little Mermaid, the remake or whatever, the live action. In the beginning of the movie, she does that huge song, and her voice sounds like a fucking actual angel. Like if angels were ever real, if there was ever a time where they were real, the voice that comes out of that girl sounds like the voice of an actual angel if there were ever a thing. So I could see why she was cast to play the Little Mermaid. Like she has the talent because Little Mermaid is a fucking singer. That is the whole premise of that. Like that is literally the number one criteria.
The show.
Yeah, like
it's whether or not you can sing.
That is
not whether or not you're a ginger. Right?
No.
Like, it's whether or not you can sing. That
is the entire character. The Little Mermaid's character is not that she's white with red hair. That is not her character. Like, that's something that she could not change, right? Like, that's just what she was just born white with red hair. But she could also just be any girl that can sing and wants to live on the surface. That's the real point. That is what the essence of The Little Mermaid is. So, again,
I hate to, man, this is so off topic, but I hate to when people try to get scientific.
Because this needs to be addressed. I think that our podcast is a platform to do stuff like this.
But I hate to when people try to get scientific. If you're going to be a hater, just be a hater. Don't try to add science to it. Like, I hate when people are like, oh, but like, it doesn't make sense for her to be black because she's like deep in the ocean. And like, because she's so deep in the ocean, like the sun wouldn't have made her skin black.
Oh my God.
And so, like, people be doing crazy
the gymnastics to get there.
Yeah. It's like, we're not about, first of all, mermaids aren't real, okay?
Right.
So we're not about to be like, well, mermaids can't be black because like they're deep in the ocean, and real life sea creatures, when they're that deep in the ocean, like they have translucent skin.
Yeah,
like, we're not about to do that.
Yeah,
like,
don't try to insert real science into a fictional character because now you're just being ridiculous. Like, I remember watching Game of Thrones, and there were things that were obviously ridiculous that would happen in Game of Thrones, but I would say, well, this is fucking Westeros, not Earth.
Yeah, it's a fantasy. Like, it's a fantasy. It's a fantasy land.
Yeah, like when this character survived something, I don't think they should have been able to survive. Like the Hound, for example, after he fought Brienne of Tarth. I thought he was dead. And then seasons later, he's alive, and I was like, all right, well, he's alive. Like, what do you want me to do? You want me to fucking complain that he survived a fucking fight with Brienne of Tarth where he suffered mortal wounds? Yeah, in real life, the wounds he suffered that were untreated would have killed him. But he's not a real person. The Hound doesn't actually exist. He's not real. So he could be anything. He could be immortal if he wants. There's a fucking guy that gets brought to life every time he dies by Beric Dondarrion. Like, Thoros Amir brings back Beric Dondarrion every time he fucking gets cut in half. The Hound literally sliced this man from shoulder down to his fucking pelvic area and said he was going to do it before he did it. And then he got brought back to life on screen by a guy who just chanted to the fucking red god or whatever. So it's like, you accepted that. You can't be mad when the Hound is just alive seasons later as a monk or whatever he was. I don't know. People are ridiculous and they need to stop.
It's just cringe. Like, a lot of people are there's just, complaints to people, and my biggest thing is, first of all, I do hate when people complain about stuff. Like, people are trying to argue, they try to like take their bigotry and then make it that the show has bad writing, like the fact that Joel died and with Ellie and etc. And like they're taking the fact that they hate the fact that Joel died and they just wanted to dick ride Joel. I love Joel too, but they wanted to dick ride Joel and they wanted Joel to be the main character. They're taking their anger of that, and then the anger of Ellie becoming the main character, and the anger of the actress of Ellie, and then the anger of Ellie being a lesbian in the show,
right?
And then like her interactions with Dina. They're taking all of that and they're just like, and then they're putting in the fact that it's terrible writing, and they're explaining all these reasons why it's bad writing when it's really just like them being an incel.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating. All of that's already frustrating. But then what I just do hate even more is the fact that like this actor is a real person behind it.
Yep.
And there are thousands of memes right now, not just about her being ugly, but it's just like, they're like putting her face on like Buzz Lightyear.
I saw that. I just saw that yesterday.
Like they're putting her face on the guy from King of Queens. I forget his real name.
Yep, I know
who
you're talking about though. I know that main actor of King of Queens.
And it's just like, bro, like this is a real person.
Yeah,
like,
it does suck because she didn't
like,
do anything.
Incels, like I don't know.
Yeah, people are horrible, man. It does really suck. It actually does suck because you're right. I think a part that many people forget is you cannot like the choice that a studio made when they decided to recreate a show or make a show. Like Netflix butchered Death Note, and Death Note is my favorite anime of all time.
Netflix destroyed that shit. That was horrible. It was horrible.
Death Note,
to even call that Death Note is such a stain on reality. Is crazy.
Yo, Netflix did their big one with Death Note, and they like absolutely ruined it in every way. Like, I almost feel bad because I meet people all the time when I tell them that Death Note is my favorite anime, and then they say, "Oh, I watched a Netflix movie," and I get kind of offended. I do.
Yeah.
I do.
You're like, hold up. I don't want you to think I said, wait a second. Because now you're going to go thinking that was my favorite thing.
Yo.
And that is embarrassing.
That is actually the emotion I feel. You're correct. I get so embarrassed, Kenny, but also angry. I get embarrassed and angry because this person's only reference to the best anime in my world is the Netflix show that absolutely is not a representation of the real Death Note. They butchered it in every way, and it's not because L was black. Like,
no.
The reasons that I hate the Death Note Netflix live action show is not because they made L black. That actually has nothing to do with why I think the show is bad.
L being black, light being white, like none of that matters.
Yeah,
none of that matters.
I don't care
like,
about that.
If it was just well written, if it was just like still like it would.
If HBO did it, I think it would have been a great show. But Netflix has this habit.
L running through the streets like Kakashi was crazy.
Yes.
Like that, like black Kakashi running through the streets, just wild,
diabolical work. So. It has nothing to do with the fact that the casting is like, oh, they changed the races of the character. That's not the reason why it's bad. It's bad because the writing is bad. They didn't even try to use the original storyline. They just happen to have a Death Note in the show, and that was enough for them to call it Death Note. But nothing about it.
They didn't even blatantly understand the characters. Light Turner was like nowhere near as intelligent or thought-provoking as Light Yagami.
Right.
And same with L. L was not like, they had L like panicked and frantic running through the streets sweating. And it was like, that's not L. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
What is happening?
Yeah. I could go on and on about Death Note, but yes, to the point, like studios pick up these things and they can butcher them sometimes, and it does suck. And I get that. That is not what HBO did with The Last of Us. And that's kind of what I'm annoyed about, that you're saying that they're review bombing it, because they're just not mishandling this story. They're not making it into a mockery. Like that Death Note Netflix show is going to be a mockery of Death Note forever. Like that's what that is. It's a mockery. It's a fucking mockery. It's an embarrassment when I tell people I love Death Note.
I'll even say this, because I think there's probably some of this too. This is me playing devil's advocate, sort of, not really. Just giving a little bit of leeway more.
Sure.
So, a little bit of rope. Let's say maybe like the middle of the game or the end of the game is terrible. I don't know. I never played it.
Same.
But let's say the end of the game is terrible, right? And then so let's say you give someone leeway and say like, okay, like maybe a person played the game and they know that it ends terrible. That still doesn't justify shitting, because like right now the 5 episodes I've seen of the show are not terrible.
Yep.
So if you have preconceived hatred because like maybe the ending is bad, I don't think you bring that in. It's just like Attack on Titan. There's people that read the manga that hated the ending. And until when the anime was coming out, they were like, this sucks. And it's like, well, no, this doesn't suck.
Right.
Because when you read this, you loved it too. You're only hating on whatever you got in blah, blah, blah. So it's just, like Game of Thrones, every season until you get to like
the end.
is still fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Like, if you just watch season 1 of Game of Thrones and season 2 of Game of Thrones, tell me your dick's not hard the whole time.
Yeah, you can't
It's
lie to me
crazy.
and say you're watching a bad
It's
show
so
at that
good.
time. You would be
It's
fucking
so good.
lying to everyone you know if you watch the first several seasons of Game of Thrones and you're like, oh no, this shit's bad. Like, what?
Shit's bad.
Because the ending,
Crazy.
like, I get it. The ending is factually bad. But to say that the whole show is bad because of that, or to throw the baby out with the bathwater, as they say,
Yeah.
stop being ridiculous. And so, yeah, I don't know.
And I'm not saying the ending's bad because I don't
Right,
know.
we
That's
don't
just
know.
me like throwing rope, saying like maybe, and then still saying why you're an idiot.
Right. Exactly. I think that so far season 2 is good. And to kind of pick up from the very beginning of this podcast, like, Ellie basically is very, very mad at Joel at the start of season 2. It's been 5
Yeah, they're
years.
not talking.
They're
and
not-
everybody realizes it too. Everybody's like, yo, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, everybody in the town knows. She's even moved her bed, and her room is basically in the garage now. Like, they live in the same house in Jackson. So they've settled into Jackson. And in a way, I was like, oh, they kind of got like a happy ending. They've been in Jackson just living life for 5 years. Joel's a fucking
5 years. And Jackson is set the fuck
That's
up.
what I'm saying,
Jackson
bro.
is great. Jackson is like pre-apocalypse. Like they are
Yeah, it
chilling.
really is though. Like, no shit. Like Jackson is thriving.
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy, Kenny, that you say that? Like, Jackson is, I love that you said that, because when the other people see Jackson, they are like, what
they're
the
like,
fuck? They like, do you see how they reacted? Like the fucking wolves.
When the wolves see Jackson, they're all, other than Abby, the other one's like, yo, we need to go home.
Yes.
Like they were like, we need to pack
that's
this
literally
up
what they said.
and go home. Like
They
this
were like,
is,
we can't do this.
like this is crazy.
Like, they have an organized society that is thriving, bro. They have electricity. They have they're just living regular. Like, nothing happened. It's honestly like reverse Attack on Titan. It's like
yeah.
It's like reverse Attack on Titan, bro. You know how in Attack on Titan, all of humanity was told to be behind the walls. So Eren and Levi and all of those guys, Erwin, they think that all of humanity is trapped behind the walls. Come to find out several seasons later, spoilers for Attack on Titan, the world is just regular outside of the walls.
Yep.
There's a regular, they're on an island the entire time, suffering. And the real world, I'm talking about the regular ass real world, is just happening around them. And so when they see Jackson in The Last of Us in like the first episode or whatever, they can't believe it. They're like, what the fuck? Like, that looks like a regular city before every city was destroyed. And so, yeah, they want to turn back. And I think that's actually great, like a great thing to see, because that explains to you how bad and dystopian the world is. That Jackson stands out like a fucking sore thumb. But
yeah, it's bad. It's like, oh man, they're crazy. Because they're like, also you have to think about it. Joel, like they know. They like at this point, Joel has lore. They're like, there's an old man with a little girl that murders everybody.
Yes.
Like murders and so not only you're dealing with this guy, you're dealing with this guy and a whole fucking city. So they're like, how in the fuck are we going to pull this off? Like, we can't pull this off.
Yeah. And with a stroke of luck, they end up doing it. But I do like the setup of episode 1. So I want to say this too. I actually didn't watch episode 1 when it aired, and I'm so glad that happened. I knew about The Last of Us coming out. For whatever reason, I was kind of busy around the time because I was getting ready for like my Japan trip and just a lot of stuff going on. Me and Kenny were recording a lot of content so that we had stuff to come out like while we were going and all that stuff. So leading up to it, Sunday came and I just did not watch it, episode 1, when it aired. But then when episode 2 aired, something said, well, watch episode 1 right before episode 2 comes on, and then you can just watch it at like concurrently. So what happened for me is that I actually watched episode 1 and 2 as like one full long episode, and it kind of does play out like a movie anyway.
Yeah.
Like those 2 episodes are a whole arc. It's an introduction to what's been going on with Joel and Ellie. It's a 5-year time skip on Jackson, what's going on with his brother and his wife, what's going on in general, and then like the whole Abby storyline gets introduced, and then the big thing happens where they talk about how there could be infected, like thousands of them under the snow, which when they said that when they said like thousands of them possibly in pockets, I was like, that sounds like there's no fucking way that there could be that many. They kind of say it in passing in episode 1.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, there's pockets of infected. There could be 15 of them. There could be 2 of them. There could be thousands of them. And like, I was like, all right, well, I could see 15. Like I could see 15 because you could have a group of 15 people that died in the wild trying to get to Jackson or something, and they die on the travel there because it's like snow all around. So I could see them just like freezing to death and they die. But I was like, there's no way there's thousands. Like that number's just crazy, right? So I kind of disregarded it, even though I'm watching this full 2-hour episode now. And then you get to the point where like Abby stumbles in the snow on her way to Jackson, and one infected gets up. And then like she notices that there's a bunch of them, so she starts dicking it naturally. Like, okay, infected are getting up. But then it doesn't stop. And literally hundreds get up. And as she's running from them, like it's freaky how many there were. It reminded me of the episode of Game of Thrones called Hard Home, where Jon Snow goes to rescue the wildlings from beyond the wall. He wants to bring them into Westeros because they're like, they've always been north of the wall. And he knows that the Night King or whoever is going to eventually turn everybody who's at that point. So he's trying to rescue them and they, become zombified or whatever. When I saw how many infected got up after Abby accidentally woke them, I was like, holy shit, that is way too many. But then it doesn't stop there because those infected woke up and because they created so much noise and just commotion, another group of infected that are completely in a different part of the area also wake up. And now you have two gigantic hordes that does equal 1,000 now running after the same person. It is fucking mania, episodes 1 and 2. Like that entire sequence is too much.
You know what else is really fucking cool that I like? I like that the infected are doing a thing that most zombie shows don't really do. Like season 1 of Walking Dead gave you this idea that the zombies were going to kind of evolve in a way, and that they were like, some of them might be getting smarter or whatever. But also the zombies in that didn't really have any like mechanisms. And so they kind of just like dropped that storyline for one reason or another. But in not the Walking Dead, in The Last of Us, because the mechanism of like the quote unquote zombies is like this cordyceps virus and this living thing, this fungal infection thing.
Right.
It makes sense that it continues to adapt and grow and like
just like we do
evolve. And so it's awesome. Like right in episode 1, I think there's a part where like there's a pipe and you can see inside the pipe and you can see like the little like roots or whatever moving and communicating. And so something that I think could end up happening is like one of the reasons why there might be so many infected in one area. And we see this in like episode 1 or episode 2 of season 1.
Yes.
Where there's a bunch of infected all laying down across the street that all like gather in a spot. It's not that all of those people died right there in that spot. It's that like they communicate through like a network and they all like gather together in a spot. And they communicate through like this fungal network thing. And they may or may not be getting smarter. Like I think it was episode 1 where Ellie runs into a smart fucking infected.
Yes.
That was like hiding and stalking.
Yeah.
And, like
it wasn't
doing all this crazy
dumb.
shit.
It didn't run at her all dumb and stupid like the normal ones do.
Yeah.
Like a normal infected, even a clicker, when they spot you, they can't help but to scream and run at you. That's just what they do. This one noticed her and started hiding, and it freaked Ellie out. She was like, what the fuck? And they have the name Stalker. Like those are stalkers. So there's like, we know bloaters, there's stalkers, there's clickers. But the stalkers that evolved, because I do feel like that's an evolution as well, like them being smart like that. That just shows that, 20 years later after this thing started, like, yeah, they're evolving in a way that's very scary. Also, and I like you picking up on the whole thing of them showing the cordyceps in the pipes in Jackson.
Yeah.
Because that's showing you that, like, okay, this fungal virus thing is aware that there are people here. Yeah. And what it's most likely doing is sending infected to this area. But because it's so fucking cold, they're getting frozen and they're just like, they're dumb. Like, they're still dumb. So they just like walk to a point, they freeze up and they just like collapse. And then they're just stuck there in a pit, just stupid and dumb. Because you've actually seen infected just kind of like doing nothing really. In certain points, when they get stuck in a wall or something, they're just like still trying to get you. Like Abby stabs one in season 1. She walks up to it and she realizes that he can't move because he's in a wall. So she like walks up to it, she studies him, she cuts his forehead open, and then she like stabs him in the neck and kills him. But the whole point of that was to show like he still is trying to get her, even though he literally can't get her.
Yep.
So I think that the cordyceps have communicated like there is a whole town of people who are not infected here, and I'm trying to send as many of these minions as I can to this area in hopes that we will eventually overtake it. And that's exactly what ends up kind of happening, is that they invade. It's such a that whole 2-episode sequence is crazy because you got Abby who wants to kill Joel and she wants to find out who he is, but she doesn't even know what he looks like. She doesn't know how she's going to find him. Her friends tell her, listen, we're going to go back to Seattle and we're going to come up with a plan to get Joel, but we're not going to just barge in there and try to get him. We're never going to find him. Like, he could be fucking we're going to look for every old guy. We're just going to kill every old guy we see. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But she ends up running from this horde. She ends up running into Jackson, literally. Like, she runs into the outside gate that is literally just like a regular barbed wire gate that anybody could really just kind of encroach on. But she runs into it. She makes it in by like the skin of her teeth. And I actually love how tense these 2 episodes were. Just so tense. Like my anxiety watching it, I remember
It was so good.
Bro, her running in that fence and them like clawing at her, and then the fence caving in on her, like because they just started piling. Oh my god, Bro. It was so scary. I was like, oh, she's dead. I was like, this bitch is dead. There's no way she's getting out of this. And then whose hand reaches out and grabs her before she's like about to be killed? Whose hand? None other than Joel himself grabs Abby, fires a shot, blows one of the infected off that's about to bite her, saves her actual life. They get inside. They seal up the door in the entrance. And then she hears someone else say, Joel, down here.
And she's like, oh, shit.
Yes. So you have this amazing thing where we as the viewer, we know that this murderous girl, Abby, is looking for this person that we love. So you have this tension immediately where you're like, oh, God, no one wants Joel to die. And as I'm watching this, I'm like, oh, God, I hope that she doesn't just like back attack him or something, right? Like, I hope she doesn't just take a knife and just stabs Joel in the back of the neck, because she could just kill him. He has his back turned to her at one point, and she's staring, and she goes for her weapon. Like, you could see her like reaching for something, and his back is turned. He clearly doesn't think that she's going to harm him. But I was really nervous that in that moment she was just going to lunge at him and try to kill him, and hopefully he would turn around fast enough and get like stabbed, but not enough to kill him, and then he choke her out or some shit. But she bides her time smartly, and she waits, and he goes out into the fucking cold where she just ran from, and like she convinces him, oh, I have a cabin, like, you know, up in the area over here, I have a cabin, and you know, we have supplies, we have all this shit up here, so if you just come back with me, we can definitely get back to Jackson and help out. And he's like, I don't know about this, I kind of want to get back to Jackson, like I feel like they need help, like they're gonna need help, I really want to get back. But she convinces him, and even against his better judgment, he goes. And at this point I'm still thinking, okay, this is bad. Like, I get it. What he's about to walk into is an ambush, and this is bad. But he's the main character, and he will find a way to survive this. He's a sharpshooter. These are children to him. Like, he's going to find a way. And when he gets there, and, like, they start fucking him up, the second she shoots him in the leg with the shotgun, my heart dropped, because I said to myself, this is my exact thought. When she shot him with the shotgun in the leg, I said, oh, well, he's going to be like this for the rest of the show. Like, I was like,
if only.
I was like, he will survive this encounter, but he will never be the same, because he just got shot in the fucking kneecap with a shotgun. I was like, okay, Joel's going to have a limp. He's going to have a cane. He's going to have like crutches for the rest of the show. He's not going to be able to go out on adventures or anything like that. He's going to be a Jackson mainstay, and that's his storyline from now on. I did not see what was going to ensue. How did you feel when this was all happening?
I mean, I was fully locked in, you know, hoping that he makes it out of it in some way, right? Yeah. It's the same exact feeling as Ned Stark, where it's like you're waiting for Ichigo to show up. Yep. You know what I mean? Like, you're waiting for some bullshit to happen. You're waiting for it to be a superhero show. You're waiting for like your guy to get out of it, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse. And then like Ellie's on her way with what's the Asian boy's name? I
forget his name, but he's Dina's fiance / baby father.
She's on her way with him, and it's like maybe they'll get there just soon enough.
That's
and like
exactly
Joel
what I
will
thought.
Be ruined forever, but like he'll be alive.
Yep.
And then they make it there just in time for Ellie to like watch him die, for her to just like sit there and like she tries to go off, and like Ellie holds her own a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's one person versus like 7.
Yeah.
Like, what can she do? Dina gets like drugged. And then there's even a thing where they're talking, and then she's like, you know, answer my questions truthfully, and if not, like, I will just kill this girl. And all of Abby's friends are like, yo, like, we're not killing this girl. Like, this isn't like we came here to kill one person. I'm with you on the revenge for the one person, but like we're in their head, we're still the good guys. We're not going to kill random people.
Right.
So they're like, we're not killing this random girl. Like, we'll kill Joel, whatever. But they're all seeing like Abby's fucking crazy, and like she's like breaking a golf club over Joel's body. Like it's getting bad. Like, I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. It was fucking tense, and the whole time you're hoping, but it starts to set in. It's like, oh, he's dead.
Yep.
But the whole time you're like, you want him to live.
I was like, where's Tommy? Tommy's going to come in and just shoot her.
Yeah. And then it settles in, and then like he really does die. And I get it. A lot of people are really hurt by that. But at the end of the day, it's like, this is like an apocalypse. Like, it is a grounded show in that way. Like, there's no superhero shit. Nobody came if you want some action.
Yeah.
Like, that's not happening. Like, there's no like one guy coming in saving everybody. Like, it's just not going to happen. And the other thing I like is, and I think it's really good writing, Joel is dead because of his own character development. And I think this is really cool because if you take Joel from the start of the series, he is very untrusting. Think about when they're driving. Think about, okay, think about before the apocalypse, 20 years ago, when he's in the car with Tommy and his real daughter. They're driving and the shit is happening, crazy shit's happening, and there's a family like, oh my God, please help. And Tommy's like, and Joel's like, keep fucking driving.
Yep.
And Tommy's like, we got to help them.
He doesn't
and
even
Joel's
think
like,
twice.
Joel, I think Tommy's like, they have a kid, and Joel's like, we have a kid.
He literally
keep fucking driving. Like, Joel is not about to just fucking help these people. Like, the risk is too much. Like, it's too great. Keep going. 20 years later, he's even worse. He's even more jaded. He doesn't trust people. He's like very jaded, and he's very hardened by everything that's happened, and he's very good at it.
Yep.
There's a part where they go into the one town. I don't remember the name of the city, but it's when they go and then like the whole bridge is like blocked off with cars and shit. And so they have to go down an alternate route. And Joel knows, he's like, I know I'm going the wrong way. Like, I know this is going to be bad, but like, I don't have a choice. And he says like, fuck it. And he goes. And then like a random guy's like, oh man, help me. And then Joel's like, Ellie, put on your seatbelt, and fucking floors it. Because like,
she's like, we have to help
Joel
that guy.
He knows that guy is on bullshit.
Yep.
And he was right. He's not trusting these random people. You just can't. And so Joel was hard. But as time goes on, as he becomes more softened by Ellie, because at first he didn't necessarily care about Ellie either. It's through all this time he spends with her that she ends up becoming his daughter, and he cares about her, and he does all the stuff for her. And then he ends up settling down in Jackson for 5 years, and he becomes more trusting. He becomes a respected figure, and they let people in, and they save people, and they bring them into their society. It's Joel's character development that leads him into saving a person he doesn't know.
Yep.
That then ends up leading to his death in the same way that he knew not to save all these other people because it would end up getting him killed. When his character develops and he becomes more softened and he's more willing to bring people in and trust people, that ends up happening, and then it's still the apocalypse. So, and then that ends up getting him killed. So I think it's really, really good writing.
I do too.
That ends up getting Joel killed. It's like, it's phenomenal. I don't want him to be dead. I love him. But I think the writing is phenomenal that leads up to his death.
I could not agree more. I think that Tessa's last words to him, save who you can save.
Yeah.
That honestly is also part of the reason why he ended up in a predicament that he did. Save who you can save. He sees this other little girl, because to him, Abby is a little girl, and he feels like, okay, I can save this. But he already saved her once. Let's be clear. He already saved her from the horde the first time. She was probably just going to die against that fence, realistically. He saved her once. And he's like, all right, sure. You say you have things here. You seem pretty reasonable as a person. I'm going to trust you and I'll follow you. And it gets him killed. And he is a victim of his own character development, like you said. That is brilliant writing. So the writing is not bad for The Last of Us season 2 at all. And it is in line with like everything that you've seen from him. I think that season 2 starting off focusing on developing relationships is so well done in episode 1. Like, so there's a couple things at play. We mentioned how Ellie and Joel are not talking to each other really. They are on the outs with each other. And he actually is genuinely kind of confused on like why she's so mad at him. Like he has an idea, of course, but he's not 100% sure. So he's going to therapy and shit like that. He's talking to a psychologist, and this psychologist lady, like they've been having sessions.
She is a rant, by the way.
She is.
She is a rant.
Didn't he kill her husband or something like that?
Yeah, so that is interesting. I don't know if we see that in season 1.
No.
I don't know if that happened during the 5-year time skip. I'm not 100% sure, but she does say like,
we see it in
you killed, like he killed her husband apparently, and then she says like, I get it, like you had to, like it is what it is, like
yeah,
like I hold resentment toward you, but at the same time, I don't. Like it is what it is. You had to, like you didn't really have a choice,
right? But she hates him at the same time. She's like, I hate you with every fiber of my being.
But like she still tries to do her job for him and stuff. So, but yeah, apparently he killed her husband. I think her husband was a Firefly, if I'm remembering
right.
Correctly.
He killed a lot of them. So yeah, he has this relationship going on with this therapist that he clearly has visited multiple times, and he gives her drugs and as a way, like edibles and shit like that. He gives her drugs as a way to like pay for the services. But they have like not a conventional like real world therapy session. It's very kind of on Joel's terms as everything else is. Like when he doesn't like it, he just kind of leaves. Like he just gets kind of mad. But she asked him bluntly, why is Ellie so mad at you? Like, what did you do that made her so strongly angry at you? And he doesn't admit it, even though he knows in the back of his mind, and he has flashbacks. They show little flashbacks of her in the, I love it. It's him driving with her in the back seat, all woozy, waking up, and he's looking in the back, like, well, he's looking in the rearview mirror, and she's like, what happened? And he's like, everything's fine. We just had to get out of there. She's like, where are my clothes? He's like, we weren't able to get them. We just had to like get out, you know, a horde of infected came in, and we just had to abandon the area. It's like, what happened to Marlene? Like, you know, Marlene's she's strong. She'll be fine.
She's strong, yeah. She's
Marlene's
there.
strong.
She's out there.
She's strong woman. She's so brave.
Just talking shit.
Marlene, she's so brave. Yeah, she'll be fine. She'll be fine. Yeah, so you see him having flashbacks of what he did. So he clearly has a guilty conscience about what he did as well. He's aware of it. But when the therapist asks him to confess to what, because she doesn't fucking know what happened. So she's like,
she has no clue.
She's asking him like, what did you do? And Joel is like, I don't know. Like he just lies. Like I don't know. I don't know why she's mad at me. So he ends up leaving that therapy session. And then you have other stuff happening with Dina and Ellie. Ellie very clearly has a crush on this girl, but this girl was straight seeming. She's straight. She's been back and forth with her boyfriend. They break up, they get back together. They break up, they get back together. She's typical, you know, toxic relationship. I hate him, but then you go back to him. Y'all end up having sex one night. Now y'all back together. But she didn't. This is when this happens in real life, and I hate it. People will tell you all the bad shit that's going on in their relationship, but then they won't leave the person. So now they've effectively made you hate the person because you don't have love for the person like they do. You're not fucking this person.
With them and it's like,
you end up
that happens to me. That happened to me recently, but I know somebody that like they hate their boyfriend, their baby dad, or whatever, and then like,
but they end up back with the person.
They tell you every bad thing that they ever did and ever said, and then they get back with them, and it's like, well, and they're like, hey, do you want to come hang out?
It's like, no, you made me hate him. Like I genuinely hate this person. That happens. I hate that because when I don't like somebody, it is very hard for me to hide it. Like you know, like it's very hard for me to hide if I do not like somebody. So don't tell me all the bad shit that someone did to you, and then later on you're friends with them again, and you expect me to just pretend like I didn't hear that he beat on you. Like I will never like him. I will never like him. He put his hands on you. There will never be a world where I will think he's a cool guy. He will always be.
You just gonna have to keep it to yourself.
If you
want me to be his friend, you're gonna have to keep it to yourself.
So you have like Dina confiding in Ellie about all the bad shit with the Asian guy, her boyfriend or whatever. But then like you can tell Ellie likes him. There's this whole dance that they have there's like a nighttime dance in the fucking hay shack or whatever. And one guy, because Dina and Ellie are dancing
he's
together.
Like, you fucking dykes.
Yo,
he comes in crazy.
He does come in wild, bro. Even for post-apocalyptic time.
Right? Like, he says crazy shit.
No, he says, you just said verbatim what he said. Fucking dykes.
I'm just making sure.
Like, you didn't make that up. Like, that didn't come from your own... Like, he says those words. He
came in hot.
He did. I mean, I'm glad that it's not two guys. I feel like the F word is a little stronger than the D word. Like, just... Like the word that rhymes with maggot is way crazier.
It's because that word has been used more.
It has, yes.
Right? Like,
also,
and I also
two men is perceived as worse than two women in society. Just like the double standard of
historically, two men, at least by men, were always like, it just comes down to this. Guys are pieces of shit.
Yep.
We are. And so, historically, women being gay are looked at as cool because guys are horny. Like, oh, it's two girls. But as soon as those two girls are like prove they're not interested in guys at all, it's like, you guys are just whores. Yep. I hate dykes. Like, it's like, what is happening?
He came in hot.
Yeah, men are stupid.
Call them fucking dykes. And what I loved about the way this scene was directed, you never saw Joel at this fucking dance. Like, at no point during this entire 8-minute sequence where Ellie and Dina are having this magical moment and everything's going great for them and it's like life after death, you never see Joel. But the second this guy says fucking dykes, a fist comes from the left of the screen and connects with this man's cheek and knocks him clean on his ass. And then Joel just gets like apprehended by a bunch of people. And I thought that shit was so funny, but so what? Like HBO is amazing at the way they just direct. I like that scene where you don't even know that Joel's there, but the second somebody attacks, like assaults Ellie in any way, he immediately is on go. Like he doesn't even ask about, yo, bro, what the fuck are you talking to my daughter like that? He just fucking sucker punches that dude, and I just
it's on site. These people don't know the amount of people Joel has killed for this girl. Like it's on site. There's no
and a different world that guy got killed for that.
Yeah, there's no talking. Remember, this is like unhook Ellie from the I can't do. Boom, you're dead.
Yeah,
like this is who we're talking about.
Outside of Jackson, Joel killed that guy. He fucking knifed. That guy got knifed because he said that. Like outside of Jackson, I want that guy to understand that 5 years ago he was dead.
Yep.
Like he's lucky that he only got sucker punched. But that scene where he just gets punched from off screen, like I just think the fist coming from off the screen like that was amazing. Clearly shows you that despite the fact that they're having their own shit between Ellie and Joel, that they still clearly love each other. And it's proven again because, you know Joel loves her, obviously, but you're wondering about how bad it is with Ellie and how her feelings are. She's so stubborn. She's a teenager, teenage angst. You know how that could be. But then there's this one scene that lets you know she still cares about him. She's like talking about doing raids and stuff like that. And they're trying to give her off to like someone else. Like, oh, we know you're not really fucking with Joel right now, so you could just do it with this person. She's like, well, no, I'll do it with Joel. Like I've always done it with Joel. Like it's fine. Like like she still wants to do certain things specifically with Joel. And in that moment, you're like, oh, okay. So it's not completely severed. It's not irreparable.
And somebody says, it might be Dina, but they're trying to talk to her about her relationship with Joel and see if everything's okay. And she's, I don't remember the whole speech, but she basically just says something along the lines of like, yeah, like we have our problems, blah, blah, blah. But like Joel is Joel, like I'm like Ellie is Ellie. And like, we're still to get like our relationship is what it is. Like we're like, I don't know if she says like, he's still my dad or whatever, but like essentially it's like on that type of time. It's like, he's my dad. It is what it is. Like we have like our beef right now, but like, that's still my guy. And like, you don't have to fucking worry about it. Like we are who we are. We'll figure it out. Like leave us alone.
Yeah. So I really like that. You get that kind of hint of that. And all of this sets up for other relationships too. So there's Joel and Dina. And they only interact very briefly in these first 2 episodes, but you do know that Dina looks at him as kind of like a mentor as well. Like she has a conversation with Joel, they're talking, and they have a very close relationship. So, which makes sense later on when Dina decides to go with Ellie to get revenge. She's not some random person that just like, I'm going on this mission with you to go kill someone because you love this guy and I love you. It's like, no, Dina had a relationship with Joel too, and it's been 5 years. 5 years is a long ass time, by the way.
Yeah.
Like knowing someone for 5 years is actually a long time, especially in an apocalyptic world.
Especially in this world. Yeah. Like think about it. Ellie and Joel, in order for them to develop the bond they did, it was obviously their bond could be even stronger now. But the bond they developed was over the course of like 1 year of them traveling. So, knowing Joel or knowing anybody for 5 years in this time frame, and even honestly, not even just in that time frame, in normal, like by the time me and Frazier knew each other for 5 years, we were already like really close friends. It wasn't like we didn't become close friends till 10 years. Like that's crazy.
Right. Like, 5 years in, it's like I know you very, very well. And like we've been to each other's houses, we've stayed over each other's houses, we've played so many games together, we talk for hours on the phone, blah, blah, blah. So 5 years is a lot of time. So Dina has a mentor relationship with Joel. And I like that you see that. I didn't understand the significance of this character at first, like Dina, because she's new. She's just being introduced. And I was like, okay, I don't really know who she is, but I'm supposed to care about her because they keep showing her. And then, and I was like, oh, clearly something is going on with her and Ellie in terms of like lesbianism, which is fine. Like, again, gay people exist.
They exist.
Joel ends up getting murdered brutally by Abby. Like I'm talking about in one of the worst ways I've ever seen a main character die. Like Ned Stark got beheaded in Game of Thrones. Mm-hmm. And like you said,
at least that was like, it was horrible, but it was quick.
It was quick and it was horrible. But I love that you also said something about how it was exactly the same as Ned when you're thinking that there's going to be a savior. Because you remember when Ned is about to be beheaded, Joffrey offers a chance for Ned to recant his previous statements about him being a bastard and not being the true heir to the throne and all that stuff. He says, if you say that I'm the king of the 7 kingdoms and you swear your fealty to me and you do all of these good things, I'll let you live. And Sansa pleads with her father, Dad, please, for the sake of me and for, Arya and everyone else, please just do what he says. She pleads with him. And people have come to Ned while he was in his chamber and they've said the same thing. Like, you have to play the game, bro. Like, I know that you're like so noble and you mean so well. You do the right thing in every situation. That's gotten you very far. But you are in a different land. You need to play the game. And Ned was so reluctant to play the game. But in this moment, he looks around, he sees the crowd, and the crowd is calling for blood. The crowd of people watching Ned on the fucking guillotine, they're like yelling for they want his head, bro. And so Joffrey's waiting for his response, and Ned does do exactly what he's supposed to do. And he says, I, Ned Stark, Warden of the North, leader of House Stark and all that stuff, like, I see Joffrey as my king. I swear my fealty to him from this day forward and all days. Says everything. And then Joffrey goes, my mother would have me, give this man leniency, but my mother is a woman and she's weak. Off with his head. And Ned, in that moment, and you're watching it, you're like, there's no way this is about to happen, right? Like, he did what he was supposed to do. There's no way. And he just gets beheaded. And it felt just like that. You're 100% right, Kenny. It felt exactly the same way when I'm watching Joel. I'm like, he saved this girl's life. In my head, I was like, she's going to stop at the last minute because he saved her life at the very least. I get it. He killed your dad. You're pissed. But he did just save you. And maybe one of the people will stop her. Maybe Tommy will come in guns a-blazing. I don't know.
Yeah, something's going to happen.
But no. And they even set you up. They show you, not Arya, they show you Bella Ramsey. They show you Ellie fighting a grown-ass man at the beginning of episode 1. Like, she's sparring with some guy who's like 6'3", 250. And she actually like wins the fight. Or so she thinks. She like beats this guy. And at the end of it, finds out that he was holding his punches. And she's like mad about that. Like, don't hold your fucking punches. Like, don't be doing that. But like, bro, you're literally a 5'4" girl. Like, I'm not full force hitting you. Like, when Brienne fought Arya, she did not go full force on Arya until Arya, got a little ridiculous. And then she kicked the shit out of that little girl. I was like, all right, bitch. But like, they trick you into thinking that Bella Ramsey is now Rambo. Because she did a fucking Rey Mysterio move on this guy. She was like on his head top, spinning around like she
did do some Rey Mysterio.
She fucking jumped on him and like spun his body weight around and like judoed him and shit and slammed him on the ground. I was like, I got you. And I was like, oh shit, she's a little ninja now. And then the second she barges into that room with the wolves and they have Joel and you think she's about to do the exact same thing to that guy, she just gets hit, knocked down, and tied up real quick. Zero diff.
Kicked in the stomach.
It's not much of a fight. It's realistic. Like you said, the show is grounded. Like, you're getting jumped, bitch. You're not fucking Rambo. You're not some fucking Superman. You're not coming in to save Joel, guns a-blazing. You're just getting beat the fuck up because you're a little ass girl. Like,
and there's fucking seven other people. Like, if there's one guy in there, sure, you can sneak him and kill him, but there's 7 people in there. Like,
so be so fucking for real. So Joel dies brutally, and the scene that really did it for me, they cut the volume. I thought that the file I downloaded would like corrupt or something. But it gets completely silent. Like, you hear nothing. And then you see her take this really sharp object and she just stabs him in his neck with it. Like, it's the killing blow. And he's looking at Ellie when it's happening. And it's like so brutal because like, yo, bro, that is such a horrible way to go out. Like, the beating that he suffered, the shotgun wound to the knee, he had to be in so much pain in that moment.
And Ellie's like, because in Ellie's mind, there's a part of her that is similar to everybody at home. There's a part of her that she sees Joel as Superman. Yeah. And she's like, Joel, get up. Like, Joel, get the fuck up. Like, get up. Because like, there's a part of her that believes like, this is Joel. He can get the fuck up. Like, he can get up. He's Superman. Yep. Like, there's a part of her that believes he's Superman. But like,
what they've been through.
He's not Superman, and nobody's Superman. And then like he gets like the thing that he gets stabbed in the neck with is a broken, like, she breaks a golf club by beating him with a golf club to the point where the golf club breaks, and then stabs him in his neck with a fucking broken golf club. Like, it's brutal. Yeah, it's really hard to watch. And it goes silent and it happens, and the way she's pleading for his life before he dies, when she's saying like, please don't stop, don't do this, like, don't, and she's like screaming. And I had my covers up to my fucking neck in my bed. Like, I'm sitting there like, yo, somebody has to stop this. The way that little girl was screaming, like, please don't do this. Yeah. Like, please. I just imagine if somebody had like your actual parent, your actual sister, your actual whatever, and they're about to kill them in front of you. And you are like, how would you be pleading? How would you be in that moment where your hands tied behind your back, you're face down on the ground? How would you be pleading? You'd be tears in your eyes, screaming, I will do anything you say. Please don't do this. Like, please stop. And they don't, obviously, and they kill him. And I'm focusing on this moment so much because I just could not believe it. And it was such great television.
episode 2 was the best episode of the show so far to me. Like, it's up there with the pedophile priest episode. It's up there with Bill and Frank's episode. It's up there with the episode where they Henry and his little brother.
My god,
that one hurt so bad. Oh god, yeah. Henry and his little brother. That one was really hard to watch, but it was amazing TV. And the way like it ends for them is really well done too. But this episode with the hordes that I didn't expect, and there's an entire war going on in Jackson at the same time. Like while all of this is happening, his brother is being approached by a bloater in a fucking back alleyway somewhere, and he has like a flamethrower.
There's like it's fucking. There are like walkers on the wall, basically. There is motherfuckers coming slamming into the wall of Jackson. They're like throwing oil down, lighting it on fire, fucking shooting them. Like they're doing everything they can. They eventually break through the wall. They're in there, dude. I fucking love the dogs. Like something about fact that they had dogs on the ready. The dogs ran out there. Cool. Were on some shit. But they were going to absolute war.
Yeah,
like,
they were.
There was so much happening at once.
They said stay off the main street. If they breach the gate, make sure that you are not caught on that main street. And they say that without you knowing what that means. So then when they actually do breach the main gate and you see that all of the civilians are on the rooftops and they have like kegs down on the ground and they have just crazy artillery on the roof and they're just gunning down everything that comes through that gate is getting gunned the fuck down. It's really the camaraderie that this community has, the organization, the fact they have a plan for this type of thing is so cool. Even before they breached the gate, how they were throwing down like the oil and shit and then shooting it and like, you know, burning them because burning them does work no matter what. Like that is a real way to deal with infected. I love it. I love it. Like I said, this episode reminded me of one of the best episodes of Game of Thrones. It's actually in the top 10 episodes of Game of Thrones on IMDb, Hardhome, which is, again, the episode where Jon Snow goes beyond the wall to rescue the wildlings. And you first meet the Night King. Like, you really meet... And he does that epic scene at the end where he lifts his arms and raises the dead. It reminds me of that because they got overwhelmed and you thought there's no way anyone is really surviving this. And they do survive by the skin of their teeth, but like, it's like at one of those things, at what cost? A lot of casualties. It's bad. It's real bad. So yeah, I feel like whoever directed some of those Game of Thrones epic moments, like the Battle of the Bastards and Hardhome and the Battle of Blackwater Bay, I feel like they had a hand. HBO Studios definitely they're using the same people. They have to be because it felt like it.
I mean, they're doing great work. Yeah, the dogs, like, it's funny because for the most part, The Last of Us and the Game of Thrones aren't really similar shows, but there's like a couple things, it being on HBO, where I see some similar DNA. Like I said, Joel and Ned feels like very similar situations, and your heart is just like, please, God. And then just, that little war that happened at Jackson was like, yo, this is crazy. Yeah,
it was way more epic.
Flexing right now.
It was way more epic than I thought it was going to be. And I heard this very recently. I think I was watching this channel that I love called Emergency Awesome. It's on YouTube. It's a YouTuber. I think he has like over 1 million subscribers too, but he covers popular shows. So he covers like House of the Dragon. He covers, The Boys, and he covers The Last of Us. And he was saying on the episodes that people were complaining about season 1 not having enough infected. So HBO said, you want infected? We'll give you infected. And season 2, if you notice, there's been multiple episodes now where there's been hordes of infected.
Yeah.
Like episode 2 was one of them. Infected. Yeah, episode 2 was one of them. But then the train scene in like episode 3 or 4, where Ellie and Dina are just like in a fucking train station and infected because they're being chased down by I guess the wolves or whatever at the time. They're being like trapped. But in that train station, you hear a couple clickers at first, and I love it. Dina is doing this cool ass thing. It made me think that she has a class. Like, you know how in a dystopian world, people were like, I'm a doctor and I'm also this and I'm that. And then you have people who are like, I'm a ranger, so I go out and I like get things. And then you have people who are like, I'm a grower, so I like grow all the crops and stuff like that. And you have, whatever, right? You have these categories of people because humans have to find a way to survive. So now we have to delegate roles to humans. I feel like Dina is a scouter or something because she was closing her eyes while clearly Ellie is panicking in this moment. Dina's doing this thing with her fingers, like she's counting. She goes 1, you hear the clicker. And you hear the clickers, I didn't notice this until this episode, they all have distinct sounds. Because why would every clicker sound the same? Like, Kenny doesn't sound like me. So every clicker has a distinct sound, which I think is so cool. So Dina has been trained. You could tell she's been trained to do this.
Yep.
She's listening, and she closes her eyes, and she counts. She uses her thumb first. She hears 1. Then she hears a different sound, but it's still a clicker. She goes 2, 3, 4, 5. Then she picks up her second hand, and Ellie is now fully freaked out when she uses her second hand. And I just love this is world building. Like,
Yep.
that little scene of Dina just counting the number of clickers that she hears. And also, I don't know if this is either my fault or HBO's fault. Clickers were introduced in episode 2 of the first season of this show. And I did not understand the gravity of a clicker and how bad they really are when I watched it. Like, yes, I get it. It was like quiet, not even no whispering. When I say silent, I mean silent. He said that to Ellie in episode 2, and it was like, you know, I get it. But when they eventually do encounter them in that museum, like they survive. Tessa ends up getting bit. She ends up dying from that, basically. And it was rough, but I didn't get just how ridiculous clickers are until I started playing the game. Start playing the game, and clickers are one-hit kills in the game, which I love. Like, they are, if they get to you, you die instantly. There's no like clickers. They're not like that. You actually can like punch and kick and fight the other regular infected.
Yep.
But if a clicker gets to you, it's just instant death. And I actually love that about the game because it makes it, again, realistic. So now I have this innate fear of clickers that
they're dangerous.
They're
like
really
chaos.
Dangerous. And I know that they're resistant to bullets. So when Dina's counting with her fingers, I was like, oh, 5 of them, 6 of them, 7 of them, that's too many.
That's way too many. Like, how are you going to deal with all of this?
Yeah.
You can't deal with all of this.
So I love that they introduced a lot more infected. I love that HBO did that. They did a great job this season. There's so many infected now. But then they introduced these other groups. And I just got this idea too, because the show only has 2 more episodes as the time when they were recording this. So me and Kenny have seen up to episode 5, but 6 and 7 are basically, 6 is already out as we're recording this. 6 is out, but we haven't seen it. 7 comes out this weekend. So I'm now proposing, since we haven't really talked about like 4 and 5 or anything like that much, we can like table this discussion for the second part of the podcast, as we spent a lot more time just focused on other things and just kind of like
can bring it all together. Yeah, right. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, because I do want to say like a few, just to leave off this episode. So right now we're like an hour and a half in, and kind of the major plot point is that Ellie, against the will of Jackson and their council, they have this whole council. Against the will of them, Ellie and Dina have snuck out to go save Joel.
Yeah. Also, shout out to Ellie. Like, because there's this whole thing where she really wants, because after she wakes up from the hospital, Dina's like, listen, she like gives her, I think, like cookies or something. She's like, oh, like, why is this? And then she's like, well, it's like a pre-apology gift because like you're going to be mad at what I'm about to say. And she's like, what? And then Dina says, like, I actually do know like where they're from, who they are, like we can like track them or whatever. And Ellie's like, you motherfucker. And she's like, listen, if I told you, like, you would have went and tried to go when you were still like broken, like you couldn't possibly go. So anyway, I like that Ellie composes herself, and then she makes like a thing to the council where she's like, listen, I'll do with it whatever you guys say. If you guys say we're not going to do it, I'm not going to do it. But listen, please don't do it for me. Don't do it for Joel. Don't do it for revenge. Do it because like we're a family and we have to have each other's back. And she does a really good job. I love the fact that they all say no, and she's like, all right, well, I'm still on my bullshit. I'm going.
Right.
But like, I love the fact that she really, really, really tried to like really reason with them. And, you know, fuck them for not reasoning.
Yeah, I hated that. I even like the old guy that stood up for her too. He said, if somebody comes into your home and kills one of your own and you don't do anything about it, do you know what that says? Like, you have to go after them. You have to make them pay for it, because in the real world, when shit like that happens and there's no consequences to it, they will come back. They will, next time it's going to be your mom. Next time it's going to be your son, your husband, your grandchild. That's what's going to, like, they got away with it and we're just letting them get away with it. We're weak. And he was really pissed. Granted, you could tell he was like one of those military people who clearly doesn't like the way the world is now, where he doesn't have the same control and power that he used to have when the world was more militaristic.
For sure.
But I still fuck with his speech. Like, he gave a speech that I was like, yep, I'm, you know me, I'm an eye for an eye. I'm an eye for 2 eyes. I'm Team Eren. I'm Team Yagami Light. I'm Team Lelouch v Britannia. Like, people gotta die sometimes, and I'm here for it. So, so they give out this great speech. Ellie pleads her case and the council denies it. She goes anyway with Dina. Dina's like, I'm coming no matter what. And they sneak out. And that same old dude who stood up at the council, he like gives them some help. They get out and they end up immediately, obviously, you know, it's going to go bad. You know, as soon as they get out there, bad shit starts to happen. They find a place they think is fine. But then there's like 6 bodies strung up, hanging with their intestines cut out, like they're disemboweled.
Yeah.
There's like 6 humans hanging. And this, you could tell these are fresh corpses. but there's like 6 of them all being hung and their bodies are disemboweled for some reason. So their intestines are literally hanging out their stomachs. And Dina throws up. She throws up in like every scene, which is so funny.
Yeah. What's funny, I peeped really quick. I like really quick peeped that she was pregnant. Just based on like the way she was throwing up. Because if I remember the one time it happened, it was like in the morning.
Yep.
And like that kind of like cued in the morning sickness thing. And it was like, this is a person that's seen a lot of dead bodies. She's dealt with a lot of the shit. She's been in the mix. Why is she like throwing up now? And I like really quickly, I was like, oh, I think she's pregnant. And then like eventually, you know, she is pregnant.
Revealed.
But,
yeah, she also gets the pregnancy test, which we don't see her get it. We see her see other things like other medical, like womanly things. And she starts grabbing some of them, but then she stares at this one thing that they don't show it on screen, but she stares at it. And then the scene kind of changes. And then when she meets back up with Ellie, Ellie's like, hey, what were you doing? It reminded me of the scene where same thing happened season 1 with Joel and Ellie, where she finds like stuff, but she's like, oh yeah, I just got some tampons or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was kind of like the same thing, but then you find out that she's pregnant. And so yeah, these two are out on an adventure. Just these 2 girls are trying to infiltrate and find out where Abby is. Dina's the smart one. She's able to triangulate positions because she has a walkie-talkie from one of the wolves that she basically they killed or whatever. And so she has one of the walkies and she's listening to what they say, and she's mentioning some really smart things too. Like she's a really good ranger or tracker or whatever her category is.
Yeah.
She's talking about how like they're so confidently giving up their position that they know nobody else is listening. And before we end off, the other group that they introduce are these crazy fucking lunatic people. I don't know what their exact name is. I think like Seraphim or something.
I think they call... Well, yeah, but the wolves call them scars.
Scars, there you go.
They all have like scarred smiles on their
like the
cheek.
Joker.
Yeah.
From the Joker from The Dark Knight specifically, because he has the scars. You want to know how I got these scars? And then they all have that, including the children. And you can tell they're self-inflicted. But one of the episodes like opens with them walking through a forest. They also remind me of the wildlings. There's different there's different tribes of wildlings in Game of Thrones. They remind me of that one group that eats people, the cannibal ones.
Yeah.
They look like them. They have the same exact like garbs and everything.
What's cool too is that like season 1 establishes like you have like you have like Fedra and you have the Fireflies, and then it's kind of just like random camps of people.
Yep.
But yeah, it's cool because this establishes like there's more groups. Like there's the wolves, which I think if I read it correctly, I think it's like they're an offshoot of the Fireflies. I think.
Yeah, they are. They yes, they're very militaristic, right? And they definitely have taken over some Fedra equipment and Fedra weaponry. Like, but they basically are being run by this guy named Isaac, who's clearly set up to be a new antagonist of some sort. So at least he's an antagonist to the Scars.
You have the Scars, who are like a cult. And yeah, there's just like all these different things happening. All the while, the infected are evolving, so to speak, in that we have like these intelligent infected that don't just run straight in. Like they're like sneaking around and being really sneaky and watching your movements. And then I don't remember exactly what episode this happens in. And we won't get into like what happens way later, but there's the one thing where they're accusing this one girl, like, why did you like turn on your people? And then she explains, like, essentially the virus was in the air. Like up until now, the virus was only spread like through bites or whatever. And she was like, there was a spot. And then like my best guy, he went in there and he said, like, lock me in here. It's in the air. And so it's like, holy fucking shit. Because right now, this season is showing that the infected, it's involving even more in that, like, you have intelligent ones happening. And now the virus, in one way or another, is becoming airborne. And it's like, man, this is fucked up.
Yeah, that is so outrageously bad, by the way. Like the fact that now it's airborne, and that woman who was talking about, she sent her best man in there, and at first nothing happened until he walkie-talkied in. He could barely speak, and he said, lock us in, it's in the air. That ended up being her son.
Yeah.
Like that guy is her son. And so that whole sequence of them introducing spores, I completely forgot about that. But in season 1, that was a complaint as well. I forgot. People were saying, oh, they're not doing the masks. Because in the game, like very early on, I'm playing the game and like Joel pulls out a mask in like the first 30 minutes of gameplay. And I was like, what the fuck? But that's because a big part of the Last of Us world is that spores are a thing. And if you inhale them, you will be infected. So HBO at first was like, we're not doing that because we don't want our actors to constantly have to wear masks, because they do wear them a lot in the game. But they were like, HBO was like, we're just going to forgo that. We don't need that. We could just have like different ways to do it. Like, for example, the intelligent infected thing is an HBO thing. That's not like a part of the game. Like the infected, the cordyceps does not literally communicate And if you step on a branch, like it alerts ones that are miles away, like how they explain it.
Yeah.
That's all HBO, which I think that actually makes it
awesome.
It's amazing. It's an amazing change. But one of the changes that people didn't like was they took the spores out. I like that they heard the criticisms about no infected and no spores, and they introduced both of them in season 2. Like, and they did it in a cool way.
I'll say this too. On one end, it could be them taking the criticism and then like adding it back in. On the other end, it could have like always been the plan. I don't know, but what I like is that the way it ended up getting introduced now feels
organic,
more dire, because it's like, oh shit, now it's fucking airborne. Like, what do you mean?
Like we have to do something now.
Yeah, and it has like a fucking hit to your chest. You're like, oh my god, this is getting so bad.
Yeah, because if it's airborne, that means eventually like there's no escape. You know, like now instead of just trying to live your life in Jackson and just that's it, you might have to start going out and trying to eradicate infected proactively.
You know what's cool too? Whereas like the game introduces, you know, being airborne a bit earlier on, but it's only like in certain spots, whatever. What's cool about the way it develops here, and once again, I think it's like a level of writing that people aren't giving credit to the show and to HBO because they just like want to hate. It acts as a direct consequence to the end of season 1, where they were going to cure the core, or you know, potentially cure it through Ellie. Ellie would have to die, but they were going to cure it, and Joel puts an end to that and kills, you know, as far as we know, the only doctor that could perform the surgery or whatever. And then in season 2, you get the evolution of it becoming airborne. Now it becomes even more dire and even more important that a cure exists, but it doesn't. Because in those 5 years, it's evolved more. Now it's becoming airborne. If a cure existed, because it's getting to a point where, like, eventually humanity won't be able to fight it off. Right now, humanity's fighting it off, and places like Jackson can start to exist where, you know, we can maybe come alive again. But if it becomes fully airborne, you're going to wish you had a cure. You're going to wish you had a vaccine. So I think it's a really cool evolution from season 1. It not being introduced in season 1 and then it becoming introduced in season 2 adds a bit more weight to it. I like it a lot.
And they did it in a way, again, it feels organic. It does not feel like we're shoehorning this in now to please fans. It feels like this is the natural progression of the story, like you said. So I am happy that they did it. I'm not mad at it. I'm not like, oh God, they're just listening to whatever fans tell them to do. Like they actually, I mean, they didn't change out Bella Ramsey, thank God. But like, yeah, I'm happy with what they're doing. So we're going to pick this back up and talk about episodes 3, 4, and 5 in more detail, as well as the rest of the season, episodes 6 and 7. But I think this was a good episode of the podcast to just lay the foundation for season 2.
Yeah.
And there was so much to talk about. And it makes sense. We just spent almost like 45 minutes just talking about Joel's death, basically. But that makes sense because it's fucking Joel, and he's the main character of the show up until this point. So it, like, trying to speed through that wouldn't be justice. It wouldn't do the show justice.
No, and it was an important aspect of everything. I mean, he was our guy. You know, that's our guy.
And his death affects everything going forward. And it also, everything leading up to his death kind of draws into view again, right? Like I thought that when he killed those people in the hospital and he got away with it and he just lived happily ever after in Jackson, I was like, yeah, there's no consequences to that action, even though it's ridiculous that there's no consequences. But like in other shows, that could just happen and there would be nothing ever that they suffer from that. So it's cool to see that, like, yeah, that was somebody else's father though.
And you have to deal with those consequences. And yeah, it's like, it makes it realistic. There are consequences to your actions. And then there's also just, once again, what we talked about, like his own character development is part of what gets him killed. It's awesome all around. I truly have enjoyed the 5 episodes I've seen. I've enjoyed it. I have little to no complaints. My only complaint, I don't remember what episode it was. It was like maybe episode 3, but it was really short. It was like 45 minutes. That's like my only complaint.
Oh, the episode was short itself?
One of the episodes was fucking short. It was like, I think episode 3 was only like 45 minutes long. And that just made me a little sad because, first of all, it's jarring when you're used to watching something that's 60 minutes and it's 15 minutes shorter. But then on top of that, when you know there's only 7 episodes this season, it's like, fuck, one of these episodes is 45 minutes long. What the shit?
Yeah, that's really bad. I didn't notice it.
Complaint is that one of the episodes is short.
I didn't notice only because I watched the episodes on the plane and I watched 3, 4, and 5 like back to back, basically. So to me, it was just like one stream of episodes. Like honestly, 3, 4, and 5 are one long episode, the way 1 and 2 are one long episode to me.
Yeah, true.
So yeah, we'll talk about 3, 4, and 5 in more detail. There's a lot to talk about Isaac and how he defected from Fedra. I think that scene was amazing. The train scene was really good. We kind of briefly talked about that and just like Dina counting and all that stuff and how they survived it, I think was really good. The Scars or Seraphim or whatever they are, the war that they have going on with the Wolves in Seattle as a whole. Literally at one point on the plane, I remember saying to myself, what the fuck is going on in Seattle? And then one of the characters said, like, what the fuck is going on in Seattle?
Yeah, the place is fucked up.
Yeah, Seattle's wild. Like Seattle is a wild. I don't know why Seattle is so wild in the show though. It's tame in real life, but in the show, it's like, yo, the most unhinged groups of people are just existing. Infected, the Scars, the Wolves, all existing in Seattle, fighting for, I guess, who's going to be the apex predator. It's a lot going on. So I can't wait to see how this turns out. But yeah, we'll watch 6 and 7. We'll talk about the whole season and in greater detail. And we don't have to, focus so much on like Joel and the next part of this podcast. So hope you guys enjoy this. Why don't I give a shout out to the people on our Patreon at the party member or higher tier? We have Pudding the Monster and Monster Hunter, Leo, stand ready for my rival worm, Xavier Swift, This Ain't God, This is Stanley Earl, the Sultan of Slot. You can get cooked in any format. Henry Reynolds, Dennis Milburn, First to Arise, Vincenzo, Dallas Bailey, KJ, How Much Meter You Got, love that. Sarah Maria, Alex Ahern, FT Campa, Traveler of the Burning Abyss, Gores in My Prison Pocket, Sugal, Vicky Venamine, Elijah Barfault, Tyler Tadeo, Volvina Mega Monarch, Janitor 215, Thomas Rue, Joshua Carroll, Eric Chai, Brian Moore, This Ain't God, This is City Councilman Eric Mays, Mike and John, and then we have...
Kenny says, Tim Bailey's Glazed Smooth Butt, Nah I'd Win, B-Dog23, Hershey Bar, Phil and Poister, Tyler Frasher, Sasha Egger, Daniel Anderson, Daroa, Chicken Toaster Strudel, Jordan Eastman, Robert Light, Clanger, Pavinci, Harsh Kumar, HT19, Gregory Kalmaring. Fist Fighting, Ash Ketchum is the play.
Is the play. I love that. That is the play,
Mike
though.
And John, Frago, Anthony Jupov, Michael Zhang, Tyler, Chris Louie, Kevin Garcia, Time Wizard 942, Luis Juarez, and The Hopeless One.
So I also want to say this. We're close to the end of May. This month flew by for me because I spent the first couple weeks in Japan. But now that we're back, back to our regular schedule, we will be doing a Patreon exclusive episode for the month of May soon. So be on the lookout for that. So if you're at the party member or higher tier, you do get an extra episode every single month. And if you haven't seen, they are organized on Patreon. There's like a collection, they call them. Like there's a collection of all of the Patreon exclusive that we've ever done. So if you haven't gone through that yet and you're just craving more IMNerd podcast, first of all, you can listen to any episode of the podcast, no matter how old it is, because they're all kind of timeless. Like we talk about things that, like if you like Bleach, you like Naruto, you like Dragon Ball Z, you like Dragon Ball Super, you like, whatever, Game of Thrones, whatever thing you like, there are episodes that pertain to that thing. And you can watch them out of order. You can watch like the ones that you like. I know some people do this. They kind of go and look at the episode titles and descriptions and they say, okay, I want to watch the ones that I like first. Then eventually you run out. You run out of ones that you really want to hear first. So then you just start listening to the other ones and you find that those are probably some of the best episodes where we're just ranting. So yeah, definitely check out the Patreon exclusive episodes, but then again, check out all the episodes of the podcast because I think that there's something in every episode. If you like hearing us talk about things and just rant about things and our logic and how we feel about certain things, yeah, there's over 200 episodes of the podcast at this point. Like I think we're almost at like 250 or something. Let me check. Hold on. Okay, yeah, we're almost at 250. I think this episode right now, I think is episode 250 because 248.
Hell yeah.
248 was Invincible, the end of Invincible. And then I know we did 249, which was like Ash Ketchum, come get these hands. So I think this is 250. But yeah, check out Patreon exclusive. If you want to join our Patreon, go to patreon.com/IMNerd. You can get access to our Discord server, which is the only way to play in the IMNerd tournaments and be part of our community. We do host like tournaments throughout the year, stuff like that. So if that interests you, definitely join the Patreon. If you want exclusive content that only comes out on Patreon, also join the party member tier specifically or higher. And with that being said, guys, as always, they do the things that make you happy, including enjoying The Last of Us Season 2. I think the season is fantastic despite what the incels say.
I was just about to say, when you said like including whatever you said, and then I was going to follow it with and not being an incel, but you beat me to it.
Hey, look at that. We're in sync. So with that, we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.